Hello, everyone. It is Friday, August 21st. So today we are going to be learning about telescopes. So in your Earth Science class, you want to scroll down until you find the post that says 821 telescopes. So in this post, we have the link for the reading and we have the practice questions. Make sure you email them to me. So we will start with the reading. Okay, so telescopes are these instruments that help us view things that are far away, like out in space. Um, so we've been using magnifying lenses for thousands of years, and the term telescope was coined by Galileo Galilei. Okay, he built the first telescope in 1608. So his telescope used two lenses that made distant objects appear nearer and larger. Okay, and over time he improved his design. So um, his was actually a refracting telescope. So what refraction is the bending of light. So the refracting telescopes, what they do um, is they bend the light. So uh, they bend the light and they make distant objects appear near and large. Then around 1670, Isaac Newton built a different type of telescope known as the reflecting telescope. So this telescope uses curved mirrors instead of lenses to focus light. Thing is, the mirrors are a lot lighter than the lenses, and mirrors are also easier to make precise. Radio telescopes collect radio waves. Um, they are some pretty large telescopes. They look like satellite dishes. So they're designed to collect and focus radio waves or also microwaves from space. So the single largest radio telescope in the world is at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. The telescope is located in a natural hole in the ground, and if it weren't supported by the ground, it would collapse under its own weight. The thing about this telescope is it can only observe the part of the sky that is overhead. So it can't be moved around. It can only observe the part that's straight up ahead of it. With radio telescopes, you can link them together with a computer. So these telescopes will all be observing the same object, and then the computer is going to combine the data from those telescopes. So they kind of function like a single telescope, even though they're different telescopes. So space telescopes. The reason we have these, is because when we use telescopes on Earth, the light that comes into the telescope needs to pass through the atmosphere. So some wavelengths, some radiation, those are going to be blocked by certain objects in the atmosphere and motion in the atmosphere. All right. So this is why observatories are going to be built on high mountains, because there is less atmosphere above them, so it is a little bit easier to view objects in space. So space telescopes avoid these problems. All right, this is why we send telescopes out to space, so we can get a clearer observation. So you've probably heard of the Hubble telescope. This is the most well-known space telescope. So this started out in 1994 and has provided a lot of data through its observations. Since then, NASA has placed 3 other major telescopes in orbit. Each is going to use a different part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So this is just a spectrum of light. It's more of a physics concept, but this is a part of the light spectrum. And in 2020, I don't know if this has happened yet, the James Webb Space Telescope will be launched to replace the Hubble telescope. So make sure you turn in your questions.